Okay, this is an instrument that's a little far afield for what I've been building. It's a 3-string Anglo-Saxon bowed lyre after Michael King's plan on his lyre making CD. It's the first instrument on the CD I've built. So I did modify the plan somewhat. I didn't carve it out of a solid piece and then lay on a top. I had a couple of long pieces of ambrosia maple left over from another project, so that became the arms. And then these arms got tapered into, they were wide, and then I kind of tapered and thinned them all the way down, and then I glued the back on, and then I used a form to bend this long strip, one single strip of walnut that I cut into roughly a round end, and then glued that in onto the strips down here. Used clips to clip them and glued that, and that held all that together. I put a little liner on the top of the strip to help give a little bit more glue surface area when I put the soundboard on, which is Sitka spruce, a nice piece of Sitka spruce from my little wood pile from Alaska. So again, the arms are ambrosia maple as well as the back. Side is one solid strip of walnut. I made the body a bit thicker. It's almost 2 inches. And then this piece in here is a cherry. Block of cherry, and this piece here, the yoke that's holding this, is hard rock maple, and you can see the kind of a grain pattern I think that Michael was talking about in his CD, that you want to be able to reinforce the downward tension on that. The grain is supporting that, although probably should have saved a nice piece of wood like that for the Trossacham lyre and tried to do the hand mortising thing. This I just literally tapped and put some heavy-duty brass wood screws in, and it's holding fine. I didn't even glue it. I wanted to be able to adjust it. So the top is not, I didn't use a sound post. It's braced with a modified X style because I did displace the sound holes instead of coming out to the side like this. Obviously I wanted one in front and behind the bridge so that I could probably get more sound out of the whole instrument. So there's a long single brace that goes across like this, and then 2 shorter ones. And they're sculpted braces. They're not just big hunks of wood put in there. The tailpiece is walnut, and it's wrapped with a wire, viola da gamba style, around a cherry heel that you can use to rest on your knee when you're playing it. As you can see, I've got it plugged in. I did put a pickup in it, a single piezo transducer back here, right in there, not under the bridge. And I also put mechanical fine tuners on it, as well as mechanical tuners up top. In order to get these mechanical tuners to work, I needed to modify them with wooden pegs so they would be able to hold the Mongolian horsehair strings. So I kind of hand carved, they're a bit crude, but using my sanding belt, I created tapers on these, and then I recessed the wood, drilled roughly to the dimension of this small part of the taper here, as you can see right there. And so I recessed the wood, and I drilled a hole so that the post would go through. And obviously I drilled a hole in the peg so they would slide over the metal posts that are on these mechanical tuners. And so the metal post is just barely sticking in or up out of this wood, but the wooden post is substantially supported inside the yoke here. And then what I did to hold it all is I drilled a hole and then used wire to hold the wooden peg to the mechanical tuner. I drew some arrows up here to give myself hints on which way to turn it. And I also drilled holes because at some point I probably will put regular viola strings on it, or some other kind of commercial string. But I did want to try the horsehair. So not only is the instrument wider, I made it wider than Michael's plan. It's almost 2 inches thick. Hard to see. But the scale length is longer. It's viola scale length, a little over 15 inches. Because I didn't want, I knew it was going to be strident, and it was going to be a challenge to get smooth tones out of the horsehair. It's really screechy, you know. I've had it done for about a week and strung up for about a week, and it's getting a little better. I just have a violin bridge on it right now that I had from a bunch left over from setup work years ago. I had another bridge, a fancier bridge that I made for it, which obviously is a little thick, so it just wasn't giving me the sound that I wanted. I'll probably go back and rework this. This is cherry, but it still works on there. It's just it's not as loud. Obviously the bridge is real thick, so the tones are muted. So the hair is Mongolian horsehair, and it's strung up according to Michael's tutorial. You know, I did it just like he did in his videos. The first note here is tuned to C, C, G, and D. And I made them a little bit thicker than he did, but you know, again, I struggled with that for a while, and I cut a few hairs out of this string to thin it some, and I cut a few out of this one, but I love this one really thick. It's well over 50 strands. And it turned out to be an easier job than I anticipated. I tried to make a bow and snapped it. So a friend of mine went to Burma a couple years ago and brought me back one of their indigenous instruments called a tro, and this is the bow from that instrument that I rehaired with Mongolian horsehair. They had a synthetic fiber on it, and I thought, you know, this is a nice piece of rosewood, and it's been working great, so I just repurposed it. And so it's the same hair that I made the string out of, and with this instrument you rosin both the bow hair and the string, and I've certainly got a lot of rosin on it, and that probably is contributing to the squeakiness of it. But that said, yes, I knew it was going to be difficult to play, and so you can put tension on the bow hair with your finger and change the dynamics of the string. If I don't put any tension on it, then I put tension on the hair, certainly I can get a louder tone. Really scratchy. And that's plugged in with just a tad of reverb, so I'm going to shut it off. All in all, I think it came out pretty good. Having the fine tuners up here and the heavier guitar tuners up here really makes a difference. It's very easy to get into tune. The strings are pretty well stretched out. I guess they'll still keep stretching, but I want to take it down so you can see. So let's see, I brought this one down to F. That's just with the one mechanical tuner. You know, you can really hone in with the fine tuner. So that was a success, being able to tune it quickly and mess around with different notes and stuff like that, so that's been very helpful. But a Anglo-Saxon bowed lyre. Another cool Michael King plan and project. Thank you, sir. And thanks for watching.